So good morning, everyone, and welcome back to PPS Theory Sessions. So till last lecture, we were discussing about fifth unit, which is on user-defined functions, UDF. So we just completed that unit, fifth unit, functions in the previous lecture, and today we are gonna start sixth unit, which is recursion. Now we already have discussed what is recursion, recursive function. We have seen in the previous unit. So when a function calls itself, it is called a recursion, right? And that function is called recursive function. So in this unit, what we are gonna see is, just a minute. Well, just a bit. Let me get some settings properly. Yeah, sorry. So in this unit, what we are gonna do is, this is the sixth unit. Well, I need to change the headings. I'll make that change as soon as we complete this session. Yeah, so coming back to this point, in this unit, we are going to consider a recursion to solve different problems, right? So we'll start with the basic, finding factorial, then finding the nth term in the Fibonacci series, then how we can apply Ackermann function, and so on. Even after that, later on, we are going to see quicksort and a merge sort technique, which actually makes use of recursion in the solution process, right? So this is the content that we have to cover inside this unit. So this unit is all about actually how we can use recursion or how we can apply recursion to find a solution for given problems wherever iterative tasks are being done. Fine. So we'll start with the first one, understanding of recursion. That's kind of a revision for you all guys, because we have considered this thing in the previous unit. Recursion is nothing but a function calls itself repeatedly. So a function, once it has been called, it is going to call itself again and again until some conditions has been satisfied. Look, if you are not going for any condition, then definitely it is going to be infinite, and that's, you have to be careful of that your program or your function call should not become infinite, otherwise your program will never end, right? So whenever we make recursion, we need to be careful of that terminating condition, right? So in recursion, function calls itself and the chaining process occurs. Now we have to terminate that chain, and for that we need to remember these two cases, a base case and a recursive case. A recursive case is something that you actually want to perform repeatedly, repetitive task. But when you are going to terminate that recursion, that is going to be your base case, the termination condition. Based on that condition, you are going to terminate your recursion. Okay. So whenever recursion comes to your mind, you must be clear about two cases, base case and recursive case. When I'm going to call the same function and when I'm going to stop that recursion. So in every example, what we'll do is we are going to discuss base case and recursive case, and then we'll try to find out the pseudocode or algorithm to do or to perform that process, right? So we had already gone through these advantages and disadvantages. Unnecessary calling of different functions is avoided here. We can create the same function and we can call the same function every time, right? It solves the iterative problem easily, but it is more in um, other end, we can say it is difficult to understand. Now, complex programs can easily be written using recursion. You'll come to know that why in quicksort and merge sort, right? But it creates a little bit of confusion. Now, length and time of the program will be decreased because of no need to write multiple functions there. Make sure that condition is compulsory to stop the recursion. Now, let's dive in and directly consider a few examples. How do we find factorial of a given number using recursion? Okay, iterative process, we all know. We all know that from a given number, you are going to multiply all the numbers till 1 iteratively. For loop, आपने already किया हुआ है. You have already written that program in the practical list. But if we want to find out factorial using recursion, then we need to think of something. Look, when we say we want to find 5 factorial, then it is something like 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 and multiplied by 1. यहाँ तक आप जाओगे. But if you see on this part, this much part, then it is nothing but 4 factorial. 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So we can say it is nothing but 5 multiplied by 4 factorial. Right? Now, even inside this one, if you think of 4 factorial, then it is going to be 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. But when you focus on this much part, then it's going to be 3 factorial. So you can say it is nothing but 4 into 3 factorial. Right? So we can think of, let's say, if we want to find out 5 factorial, then we can say we can multiply 5 by 4 factorial. But inside that, again, if we want to find out 4 factorial, then we can say it can be 3 multiplied by 3 factorial. 3 factorial, we can say it is nothing but 3 multiplied by 2 factorial. Now, what is 2 factorial? We can say it is nothing but 2 multiplied by 1 factorial. Now, what is 1 factorial? So, 1 factorial is going to be the base case for us because this is where we are going to terminate our repetitive task. Now, we all know that 1 factorial is 1, right? So, this is a recursive case, and this one is going to be your base case, right? When you stop your process, then it becomes your base case. So if you are finding 1 factorial, then you have your answer, direct answer. You have your direct answer, and at that time you are not going to call that function again. But other than that, anywhere you have something factorial to be found and factorial to be found, then here we can say if n is equals to 1, then answer is 1. Now, if n is not equals to 1, then the answer is n multiplied by n minus 1 factorial. This is what we have to perform. To find n factorial, we will check if n is 1, then we are not going for recursion. We have the direct answer, and that becomes our base case. Okay, so this becomes the base case. And if n is not 1, then we are going to say that n multiply by n minus 1 and find that factorial. So this becomes your recursive case. And this, because of this reason, we can say fine, we have this base case. If n is equals to 1, then n factorial is 1. That's the base case. Otherwise, we are going to do this n into n minus 1 factorial should be there. N into n minus 1 factorial. So to find that factorial, again, we will repeat the same process. We are going to call the same function. So now you can say that, okay, if we want to write down this code, then it looks something like this one. We have a function fact where we say that, okay, we want to find out x factorial. We want to find out x factorial. Then inside that, we are going to check if as x is 1, then it becomes a base case. We simply return the direct answer 1. Otherwise, we are going to calculate or we are going to recurse this function. So if it is 1, then return 1. And if it is not equals to 1, then you are going to do x multiply by x minus 1 factorial. So this is the else part. Now whatever calculation you have, you store it inside a variable and then you return that variable, return f. So that will be the final answer. And that's why we have one extra variable here, f. Declare it, calculate it, and return it. Okay. Fine. So this is the factorial code using recursion. So a function is being called from itself, inside itself. Fact के अंदर से हमने वापस fact को call किया and that becomes recursion. So any more queries or question or doubt here in the factorial example using recursion? Okay. Well, so if you are clear about this factorial, then let's have a look at one more application or example where we can apply recursion. So the next one is the Fibonacci series. Now we all know that what is Fibonacci series? It is nothing but 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on. It is nothing but actually the nth term you can find by adding previous two terms, right? So it's nothing but when we say 0 and 1, first two terms are fixed. Then the third term, 1, you can have by adding previous two terms. आगे की दो टर्म को ऐड करके 0 + 1 आपको थर्ड टर्म मिलेगी. Now next term is 2. Why? Because उसके आगे की दो टर्म जो है 1 + 1 करके आपको 2 मिलेगा. Then the next term will be 3 because आगे की दो टर्म 1 + 2 करके आपको 3 मिलेगा, and so on. So it's something like 5, 8, 13, and so on. So here we can say these terms, if we call it n terms, so this is n0, n1, n2, n3, n4, n5, and 6. So that's how we can say n seventh term and so on. So look, terms are started from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Right? So now look, you can print Fibonacci series using recursion also if you want. And what we are going to see here is we are going to have a example where we want to find nth term in the sequence of Fibonacci series using recursion. I want to find out that term. Okay. So let's say if I want to find out this seventh term, if I want to find out the seventh term, right, n7, then how can I find it? So we can say that, okay, if you want to find out seventh term, then it is nothing but actually the addition of fifth term and sixth term. Fifth and sixth term addition, you have to do it. So actually that 13 has been calculated by 5 plus 8. तो ये 5 और 8 आपको कहाँ से मिलेंगे? Now, in that case, what you have to go through is fifth term आपको कैसे मिलेगी? थर्ड एंड फोर्थ को ऐड करने से मिलेगी. सिक्स्थ टर्म आपको कैसे मिलेगी? फोर्थ एंड फिफ्थ टर्म को ऐड करने से मिलेगी. ओके, अब थर्ड टर्म कैसे मिलेगी? तो आप बोलोगे फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड टर्म को ऐड करने से मिलेगी. फोर्थ कैसे मिलेगी? सो सेकंड एंड थर्ड को ऐड करने से मिल पाएगी वो. देन फोर्थ अगेन सेकंड एंड थर्ड को ऐड करने से, फिफ्थ थर्ड एंड फोर्थ को ऐड करने से मिलेगी, एंड सो ऑन. Now still we further go on because अभी तक हमें बेस केस नहीं मिला है. So what we need to do is we'll go further. अब when you say first term, उसके लिए दो टर्म मिलेगी आपको, -1 and 0. Now -1 is not the term, 0th is the term. It's okay. So अब यहाँ पे आप रुक जाओगे. So what you'll say is 0th term and first term is the base. Sorry. Okay. These two are the base cases. So if we are finding nth term and that n value of n is less than equals to 1, then it can be our base case. Otherwise, okay, greater than 1, it can be the recursive case. Okay. So that's how we found it. So what we have to do is seventh के लिए हमें fifth and sixth find करने जाना पड़ेगा. Now how to find it? So to find the nth term हमें कैसे मिलेगी? n-1 and n-2 टर्म को ऐड करने से मिलेगी. So if we say that this is fib of n, then we are simply going to recurse it, fib of n-1 plus fib of n-2. ये दोनों फाइंड करके आओ वापस, ये दोनों फाइंड करके वापस आ जाओ, बाद में मैं ऐड करके अपना nth टर्म फाइंड कर लूंगा. So it's something like अगर मुझे कुछ कैलकुलेशन करना है तो उसके सब कैलकुलेशंस मैं पहले से किसी को दे दूंगा. यू फाइंड दिस सॉल्यूशन एंड गिव मी योर आंसर सो दैट फाइनली आई कैन ऐड इट एंड कम अप विथ माय रिजल्ट. सो इस तरह से ये हो गया हमारा रिकर्जन. रिपीटेडली वी आर गोइंग टू परफॉर्म द सेम टास्क. सो व्हाट इज योर बेस केस? इफ योर n is less than or equals to 1. And what is your recursive case? If your n is greater than 1. Okay. So once you have decided what is your base case and recursive case, then simply writing if else, you can write this code. Okay. So this one is a very simple, only 3-line code for finding the nth term in Fibonacci series. So if your n is less than or equals to 1, then that is the base case. Now base case में हमें return क्या करना है? We are going to return the same number. As you can see, zeroth term is 0 and first term is 1. तो जो n है वही आपकी term है. So simply return n. That's why what we do here is if n is less than equals to 1, we return n. अब अगर मैं रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट लिखता हूं तो मुझे नीचे एल्स लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज एज सुन एज रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट हैज बीन एक्सिक्यूटेड, वो वहीं से रिटर्न हो जाएगा। सो आगे आपको एल्स लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, अगर लिखते हो देन इट्स ओके, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा। सो आफ्टर दैट इफ, नाउ दिस इज माय बेस केस, राइट। आफ्टर दैट इफ मैंने क्या किया, ये दो टर्म कैलकुलेट करने के लिए रिकर्जन कर दिया। सो दिस वन इज द रिकर्सिव केस, एंड व्हेन इट कम्स बैक मैंने उन दोनों को ऐड करके रिटर्न कर दिया, बिकॉज फाइनली एट द एंड मुझे एक नंबर चाहिए, nth टर्म चाहिए, सो उसको रिटर्न करना होगा, राइट। सो n-1 टर्म लेके आओ, n-2 टर्म लेके आओ, दोनों को ऐड करो तो आपको nth टर्म मिल जाएगी, and that's how we recurse. So this is the finding nth term from Fibonacci series using recursion. Yeah, Nirmal has pointed the same thing. F of n is equals to f of n minus 1, f of n minus 2. That's correct. And that's what we implement at this point. Yeah, so any more queries now? This is the finding nth term from Fibonacci series. Any doubt or query now? Okay, great. Now let's do one thing. Let us very quickly write these two programs and see how what we get as the answer, right? So let me jump to the coding environment, and the first program that we want to implement is the factorial program. So in void main, what we can do is we can have some number n, and we can have its factorial answer, right? And then we simply ask user, we simply ask user to, let's say, please enter a number to find factorial. And then we scan that number from user. Whatever number user is going to give us, %d, we'll scan it in n. And then what we want is, we want to calculate the factorial using a function, factorial. And when we call that function, we are going to pass the number given by user. So somehow, if we have that final answer, factorial answer, then we can print that answer here. Print factorial of %d, जो नंबर यूजर ने दिया था, is %d, जो फाइनल हमें आंसर मिला है. Okay, so the first %d is n, and the second %d is fact. That's what we want to print here. So now let's focus on this one, factorial function. Now this is just a user defined function. You have to declare it, you have to define it. I'm directly going to define it here. So return में मुझे एक factorial answer मिलेगा, and that is going to be the integer data type. So function type या तो फिर return type is int. Then function name, and then parenthesis. ऑप्शनल पैरामीटर्स, नाउ हमें एक नंबर पास करना है तो यहाँ पे एक फॉर्मल पैरामीटर लेना पड़ेगा. सो लेट्स हैव one parameter, one argument here, integer n, and then we will write the function body. अब function body के अंदर हमें क्या करना है, we want to have base case and recursive case here. So we are going to find out if n is equals to 1, if your n is simple 1, which is your base case, then you are simply going to return 1. 1 factorial is 1. Otherwise, what you'll do is you are going to calculate your factorial or simple f based on what? N multiply by, you are going to call the same function here, factorial. And at that time, you are going to pass n minus 1 as a parameter. And that f we need to return here. So अब आपको एक integer f भी लेना होगा as a function, sorry, as a variable, and you have to have parenthesis here because we want to return that f from this place. Okay, now this is equivalent to the code that I have shown you in my PPT slides. Now what I want is, I don't want this variable to be declared at this place. I don't want to be multiple lines. I directly want to return this calculation. Return and break it. I directly want to return that thing. Now this is also perfect. And अगर else के अंदर एक ही line है and base case में आप already return करते हो, तो ये else लिखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. You can simply write this way. And this is also perfect. So this is how we can optimize the number of lines in our code. The more you practice, the more you will be clear how you can optimize these number of lines. Okay, so this is simple. This is simple, the factorial code. Now let's quickly run and test it. So if I want to find out 5 factorial, then we have 120 answer, and that's perfect. Okay, so that's the solution of finding a factorial using recursion. Now, next example that we want to have a look at is the Fibonacci series, finding the nth term from Fibonacci series, right? So let's have the same thing here. And user will ask us, will ask user to please enter in, the term number, right? Term number. So user will give us that term number. We'll get that in variable n, and then here we are going to call a Fibo function, which in return is going to give us that term, right? So let's store it inside that term. And here as a message, we can say that nth term is %d. So nth term, and this is going to be the term here. Simple, same structure, no change there. But now we need to implement this Fibo function, correct? And simply, just like factorial, we are going to do it. It is going to return one number, nth term, and that number is going to be the integer. So return type or the function type is integer. Then the function name is Fibo. We require one parameter here, so integer n, and then we'll start function body. Inside that function body, we know that the base case is if your n is less than or equals to 1. So if your n is less than equals to 1, okay, then we simply return that number n itself. Otherwise, now I'm not going to write else here, just like factorial. We will simply return something. Now that something is going to be the addition of previous two terms. So previous two terms, again, we can find it using Fibo. So nth term, if I want to calculate, then I need to go for n minus 1 term plus Fibo n minus 2 term. And that is going to give us those terms as per our requirement. And that's again the Fibonacci series code. Now look, this Fibo function is going to give you the nth term. Fibonacci program finding nth term. Okay, this is not printing Fibonacci series. If you want to print it, then your code will be something different than this one. In that case, you have to have some static variables and then you need to calculate it and go on. So later on, you'll learn that part, maybe in few other semesters. But right now, let's focus on this one. We want to find out nth term, and this is how we can do it. So if we save this code, let me clear the terminal and then run this code. So if I want to find out 7th term, then it is the 13th, 1, 3, right? So that's the Fibonacci series program. And if we come back to this one, as you can see, 7th term, N7 is 13, and the same answer we have from our code also. Yeah, so those are the two programs. Well, some of you are saying that voice is breaking, but I believe that might be at your end, students. Please make sure that your internet connection is proper. I'm taking this lecture from the institute itself, so I have the LAN connection proper. Well, so we have seen two recursive solutions, factorial and nth term in the Fibonacci series. And these are the code we have discussed. Let us discuss one more today, and that's the third one, Ackermann function. You might have gone through Ackermann function earlier in your schooling part. We'll not be going in that depth of Ackermann, why and where and how it is being used. We'll be focusing on the recursion here, how we can do the recursion in this case. So just to make you something aware of, Ackermann function is nothing but the simplest example of well-defined total function, right? And it is something that which is not actually the primitive recursive function. Primitive recursive means a linear recursion, but instead of that, this Ackermann function grows more than the exponential way. So this is the example of that non-primitive recursive function. But just to make you direct aware of what is Ackermann function, then this is what the Ackermann function is. It takes two parameters, x and y, and based on the value of x and y, we are going to decide what should we return as an answer. So if your x is 0, then you simply return y plus 1. And that indicates there is no further iterative process. If your x is 0, आपके पास जो भी y है उसमें 1 ऐड करके आप रिटर्न कर दोगे. No iterative process, no recursive process. So that becomes our base case. What is our base case? If x is equals to 0, that's going to be our base case. Now, if y is 0, then we are going to call the same Ackermann function with two different values. The first one is going to be x minus 1, and second one is always going to be the constant 1, regardless of any value of y. Okay? Y आप भूल जाओ, वहां पे x minus 1 1 कॉल कर दो. So that's going to be the recursive case. If y is equals to 0, then you are going to call Ackermann with x minus 1 1, something like this. Otherwise, you are going to call Ackermann function with x minus 1 and multiple level of recursion is going to happen here. When you call Ackermann, inside that second parameter itself is the recursive call y minus 1 like this way. And that's why it is going for more than exponential way. It is growing in the exponential way. Well, so here we can say if first parameter is 0, then it becomes the base case. Otherwise, all other cases are going to be the recursive case. But inside the recursive cases, if we, what do? We do the single recursion or we do the double recursion. So for that, we do have two more cases inside, right? So this is the Ackermann function implemented using recursion here. And अब यहाँ पे आपको पता चलेगा कि इटरेटिव अगर सिंपल फॉर लूप से आपको ये करना हो तो लूप के अंदर भी दो अलग केस हो जाते हैं. आप लूप तो चलाओगे लेकिन लूप के अंदर भी आपके दो अलग केस हो जाएंगे. अगर y 0 है तो कुछ ऐसा करो, अगर 0 नहीं है तो कुछ ऐसा करो. अगर 0 नहीं है तो डिफरेंट परफॉर्मेंस करने के लिए यहाँ पे एक और नेस्टेड लूप हो जाएगा आपका. So in that case you can say, oh, implementation of Ackermann function using loop is not something that can be understood directly. But उसकी जगह पे अगर आप सिर्फ ये रिकर्सिव सॉल्यूशन देखते हो then it is very much easy. जैसे कि हम मैथमेटिकली डिफाइन करते हैं फंक्शन को, just like that way we can implement our program, right? So this one is the solution of Ackermann using recursion. Base case is going to be the if condition x double equals to 0. तो आप direct return कर दोगे y plus 1. Now this is going to be your base case. So there is no recursion. Now in remaining two, this is the recursive case. But inside that recursion, we have two more conditions. If y is 0, then do something like this. Otherwise, do something like this. Now, that's what the Ackermann function is. Right? So, to implement those two different recursive cases, we have to go for else if ladder here. So, if, else if, else. And that's the Ackermann function implementation using recursion. Okay. Just like the mathematical function you define, okay, recursive function you define in the maths. Similarly, just like that way, you are going to implement it also. So if I write the same function here mathematically, then it was something like a of xy is going to be y plus 1 if x is 0. Recursive call a of x minus 1 and 1 if y is 0. And the third one, a of x minus 1, and the second parameter will be the recursive call for Ackermann function again, x y minus 1. Now this is for otherwise. So that's the mathematical Ackermann function we have written, and if you relate the Ackermann function code, it is much more similar here. Right? So let us very quickly implement this thing also and see what it returns as an answer. And if you simply search Ackermann table on internet, you'll have the entire table for different values of x and y, resulting values. And then what you can do is you can run your code multiple times and you can compare those outputs, whether those are correct or not. let's implement this thing here and let's find out what it returns. Okay, so going back to development environment here, and let me copy this much part because we need those two things. Oh, not here. Yeah. So we need X and Y. Now let's say we are not going to ask user to enter X and Y right now. We'll directly have some values hard coded and we'll test it, right? So what we need to do is we need to have parameter X, Y, and the final answer. So what we'll do is we'll calculate that answer based on the SCCR function, or not CCR, SCKR, let's say. Or let me have the full name. ERMANN, Ackermann. And then we'll pass those two parameters X and Y here. So what we can do is we can print that answer here. Simple. So we have two values X and Y. When we pass those two values X and Y to this function, it is going to return us the answer, and we'll print that answer and we'll see what is there on the output screen. Now let's implement this function. Now it returns one value, so return type is integer. Then the function name, identifier. Inside the parenthesis, we need to have two parameters X and Y, and then the function body. Now inside that function body, what we need to have is we need to have those three cases: base case, one base case, and two recursive case. So the base case is where if your X is double equals to 0, then we are going to return Y plus 1, right? That's the base case, return Y plus 1. Else, now this is going to be your recursive case. Now recursive case के अंदर भी आपके पास दो केस है, तो आप else if later ले सकते हो यहाँ पे. The second case and the first one in the recursion is going to be if your Y is double equals to 0. Okay, in that case you are going to return something which will be calculated using the recursion Ackermann. So यहाँ पे हम वापस से उसको call करेंगे, and when we call this, at that time our parameter is going to be X minus 1 and 1 always. And the third, the last one, and the second case in the recursion is we are going to return answer coming from the recursive case or the recursive call. But when we call this, we are actually going to have the double recursion. First parameter is X minus 1, and in the second parameter, we again call that function with parameters X and Y minus 1. So as you can see here, this function is being called from three places: 1, 2, and 3. तीन जगह से हम उसको कॉल कर रहे हैं. Based on condition, it is going to be called once at a time. Okay, it is going to be called once at a time. Look, यहाँ पे second parameter में आपने ये function लिखा, लेकिन ये function as a parameter नहीं है. इस function से जो return value होगी integer, that integer value is the parameter. Remember, वो integer value एक parameter है. अगर आप ये एक लाइन में नहीं लिखना चाहते हो, then it can be something like this. इसी को आप क्या कर सकते हो, दो लाइन में डिवाइड कर सकते हो. ये जो कैलकुलेशन आपको करना है, आउटर फंक्शन को कॉल करने के लिए आपको एक पैरामीटर चाहिए. सो यू डू दिस कैलकुलेशन फर्स्ट. उसको कहीं मान लो कि वेरिएबल m में स्टोर कर लिया, and then that m is going to be your second parameter inside that function. So it is something like this. ये पैरामीटर कॉल करके जो वैल्यू मिली वो वैल्यू आपकी सेकंड पैरामीटर कहलाएगी. लेट मी क्लैरिफाई दिस पॉइंट अगेन. सेकंड पैरामीटर की जगह पे मैंने एक फंक्शन कॉल लिखा है. मैंने पूरा फंक्शन नहीं पास किया, ये सिर्फ फंक्शन कॉल है. तो क्या होगा, वो फंक्शन से जो वैल्यू रिटर्न होगी वो वैल्यू एज अ सेकंड पैरामीटर सेंड की जाएगी. Now there are other programming languages which provide us a functionality to pass entire function as a parameter. एक पूरा function definition आप as a parameter भेज सकते हो, but it is not possible in C. Okay, in C it is not possible to pass a function as a parameter. So let's get back to the point. This is what the Ackermann function implementation using recursion. And now if we run this code right now, then what is our x? X is 0, y is 0. So 0 0 हमने पास किया, 0 0 यहाँ पे मिला. If x is 0, so हमें y plus 1, 0 plus 1, 1 रिटर्न मिलेगा आंसर. यहीं से रिटर्न हो जाएगा, वो आगे जाएगा ही नहीं. So if I run this code, final answer will be 1. So it's 1 here. Now it doesn't matter what is the value of y. If your x is 0, then there will not be any recursion. It is always going to be the base case. Yes, answer will have an effect क्योंकि आंसर जो है वो y plus 1 है. So आंसर y पे डिपेंड करेगा, लेकिन रिकर्जन y पे डिपेंड नहीं करेगा इनिशियली अगर x 0 है तो. So अगर मैं यहाँ पे y 6 कर देता हूँ, and then if I run this code, then the answer will be 7, because our x was 0 and it has gone to this place. 6 plus 1, answer is 7. Okay, but if I change this x, मान लो कि x को मैंने 1 कर दिया, then x is not 0, तो वो यहाँ पे आएगा. Now let's make y 0 first. मैं y को 0 कर दूँ. So x is not 0, तो वो second else if यहाँ पे आ गया. Y is 0, yes it is. Then it is going to call this thing. x 1 है तो 1 minus 1 0 करके y को 1 करके वो send करेगा. So that's going to be 0 1 call. अगर 0 1 call हुआ, x is 0, तो 1 plus 1 answer 2 मिलेगा हमें. Let me save, clear, and then run. So answer we have 2, because it has gone for recursion one time. यहाँ से उसने 0 1 करके कॉल किया and the answer becomes 2, right? Now if I make y equals to 6, still my answer is going to be based on one recursion only. Remember, sorry, multiple recursions, because y is not 0 now. Y is not 0 now, so वो else में जाएगा and it is going to make this call. If your y is not 0, if your x is also not 0, then it is going to be this case. अगर y 0 है, x is something else, x is something, let's say 7, then it is always going to do this case. And जितनी बार मतलब x is 7, 7 minus 1 6, 6 minus 1 5, 5 minus 1 4, 4 minus 1 3, इतनी बार वो रिकर्जन करेगा, जितनी x की वैल्यू है उतनी बार वो रिकर्जन करके ऑलवेज +1 करता जाएगा. सो योर आंसर विल बी डिपेंडिंग ऑन ऑन x की जो वैल्यू है उसके ऊपर से आपको उसकी भी वैल्यू मिल जाएगी. वेल, इट हैज़ taken some time. Let me terminate that and run this code one more time. It has some problem to execute this thing, maybe. The code runner might have some problem maybe, so that we are not getting the answer at this place right now. Yeah, so you can try it out, but this is what your Ackermann function code is. Okay. So we have seen three recursion examples. The first one is factorial. The second one is Fibonacci series nth term, and the third one is Ackermann function. So we had gone through these 3 points. Now the remaining 2 points, which are actually going to be somewhat complex, which is merge sort and a quick sort. So what we'll do is next 2 lectures, we are going to cover these 2 points. One lecture will be for merge sort and another lecture will be for quick sort. So that's going to give us the completion of our unit here. As you can see, we are done with this much part, and next thing we need to have a look at this sorting techniques. So we'll first look at merge sort. With animation, I'm going to make you aware how it works, and then we'll look at the quick sort method. Okay, so that will be our plan for next 2 lectures, and we'll complete this unit. Yep, thank you for being part of this session here. Some of you have pointed out, sir, please upload PPTs. So I'm going to upload these PPTs today in your e-content. You can verify it. Well, that's all. Thank you. See you in the next lecture. Bye-bye.